good footage.
Here is a perfect example of how the government elevates a crisis and takes advantage of martial law tactics established by emergency planners. So when a major crisis occurs and you are injured or trapped during a disaster and are relying on help to save you, here is a perfect example how not to be a good citizen and try to help out those who need it. Only the government is allowed to rescue you in an emergency. So as I look at it, many people are going to die waiting for only the government people to save them, since it's against the law for regular folks to lend a helping hand or face fear of being arrested. Once again, after a disaster, everyone must play the victim, follow orders, and obey authorities, who are the only people that are allowed to rescue you in a crisis. As you see in this clip, the authorities are hauling away a rescuer after they said that he was getting in their way. So this riveting message is sending me a clear and present danger signal, and I hope that I don't ever have to deal with these police goons during an emergency in the future, as they hijack our freedoms and our participation in helping others as any decent person would do. Death to the New World Order. We shall prevail.
He's trying to be helpful, but he's just putting more people at risk than we need at the moment. So we just arrested him, put him at the station for a while, getting pulled down.
When you've been in the square the whole time, do you know if anyone's in the cathedral?
Not sure. Not sure yet.
Hello everyone, welcome to Global Government News. Today is Thursday, February 24th, 2011, and I'm Darko. Please visit my website, www.ggnonline.com. That's ggnonline.com. I have a poll up here. There's 4 days left to vote, and it is, what are the chances of the U.S. government actually shutting down in the next month? And right now, 29% of the poll takers or voters said will never happen. And this is the interesting part, is the next highest percentage is 20%. And it says very likely, so either very likely or will never happen. So you can check out my website. All my videos are posted here, or you can check out my YouTube channel, and all the links for these news articles will be posted in the video's description underneath the video. Okay, so you just saw how I covered recently a story very briefly. It was very brief. It had to do with a stateless society and basically volunteerism, and it was taking place in Australia before this. Well, this is in New Zealand, but I'm saying in Australia in general. There was a lot of people for the floods, and then came the cyclones, but in the original floods that struck before the cyclones, there was a lot of Australians that were out there volunteering and really just helping each other out, and not really waiting for the government to help them. And then you see here how the state doesn't even want people to help other citizens to help other citizens. It has to be the state, and it's actually legal to do that. So yeah, that's the future. New Zealand declares national state of emergency. It says the New Zealand Prime Minister John Key on Wednesday declared a national state of emergency in the wake of a magnitude 6.3 earthquake that jolted the South Island city of Christchurch on Tuesday, and it says here that 75 people were confirmed dead, and in the disaster, some 300 were reporting missing, and I think that number's shot up to about 100 right now. Sky News, carbon price is betrayal, and we're going to check out this video right here. It says federal opposition leader Tony Abbott says the government's proposed carbon price will push up petrol and power prices. This is what I'm going to be covering. Mostly eugenics, but I'm going to be covering these carbon policies because it's my belief that right now we're in a very unique stage that the powers that be are basically going through. The goal obviously is a global government and a one world government, and everything is centralized. One religion, one language. One global tax to support this global infrastructure, and they need this carbon tax globally, basically to support this world government. So right now, as basically the powers that be, or the New World Order, the Illuminati, whatever you want to call them, I call them the ruling families, basically, they're almost finished. They're almost complete with their little plan there. They usually have like 100-year plans, 200-year plans, 50-year plans, and they're coming to a completion of dominating the Middle East. And that started in the, excuse my language, but in the 40s even, when they took over ancient Babylon, which is now Iraq, and BP, British Petroleum at the time, kind of seized the oil fields. So it's been going on for a long time, ousting, bringing basically CIA intelligence-backed coups in Iran, imposing all these autocratic dictators, which were all backed by the West. And now it's a time to change and finish off the Middle East domination, because those are the last ones that are really resisting this global government, this global banking system. And they've been resisting it, and now it's time to get those puppets out of there. And all these people in the Middle East think that they're revolting to get democracy, but they're just going to get Fabian socialism, is what we have here in the United States. So basically, without going too much into it, so we're at this unique part in history right now where we think that this is progress, but it's not. And soon as the Middle East is done, you can be rest assured they're already doing it right now with the oil prices going up and up and up and up. The oil prices in the United States are not going to stay below $3 anymore, I think. They want to get people, they want to take their private property away, including their cars, and they don't want them driving vehicles anymore. And it's time for the real eugenics to kick in. That's basically what I'm getting into. It's time for the final stages here. And what I've been thinking about lately is there is going to be some kind of big crisis, some big crisis that's going to basically create a vacuum for the world governing body, the UN basically. And all the countries will be broke and poor, and they will rely on the UN, and the people will cry for them. So here we have Prime Minister Julia Gillard on Thursday announced a carbon price would start from July 1st, 2012, with an emissions trading scheme coming on stream 3 to 5 years later. So, and you can check out this video right here.
The backlash has already started over the Gillard government's decision to introduce a carbon pricing system. The tax is due to be introduced in July next year. During last year's election campaign, Ms Gillard said she wouldn't introduce a carbon tax, but she says now is the right time.
I'm prepared to do what it takes to win this parliamentary debate and to get a price on carbon on the 1st of July 2012. And David, I expect this to be a fast and furious debate.
Opposition Leader Tony Abbott opposes the scheme, claiming it'll push up the price of petrol and electricity.
So there you have it. She basically promised that she wasn't going to bring a carbon tax, and now she is. Families will be worse off under Julia Gillard's emissions trading scheme for carbon. And it's just like in the United States. It's not Julia Gillard's. It's the globalists. It's not Obama's healthcare plan. It's the globalists. It's the healthcare industry. It's the pharma complex. Average house $300 to $500 worse off a year. Accusations a key promise has been broken. And it says here families will be compensated with cash for rising energy costs when the federal government imposes a carbon tax on Australians from July 1st next year. And just think, these poor people, these Australians, have to deal with the recovery, the cyclone, and the flooding levy tax and that. And now they're going to impose a carbon tax. Obama administration formally opening nation's first climate science center. So look at that, guys. The U.S. Interior Department is holding a ribbon-cutting ceremony on Thursday to officially open the Alaska Climate Center, the first of its kind in the nation, the Interior Department. And oh my God, and I'm not trying to scare you, I'm just saying I just read this. Located at the University of Alaska in Anchorage, the center is the first of 8 regional climate centers, science centers, the federal government plans to establish across the United States. So there you go, folks. Climate centers, all in each region. And what do you think they're going to be responsible for? Eco-fascism and collecting the carbon tax. House votes to defund UN climate change panel that Missouri congressman calls nefarious. The House of Representatives has voted to defund a United Nations climate change panel after the Republican who introduced the proposal said the body had, quote, whipped up a global frenzy over climate change because its members were politically motivated. Well, you think? UN calls for a new era of social justice for all with basic services and decent jobs. And like I said yesterday when I showed this, it will be very basic for everybody. And I don't know how decent the jobs are going to be. Says here, UN unveils vision for global green economy. So see, this is all rolling out. Everything always happens for a reason when it happens like this. It's very timely. United Nations has unveiled a strategy to ensure a sustainable future for the planet. And you can go in there and check that, talking about a green economy. So green economies for growth urges UN, and investing $1.3 trillion each year in green sectors would deliver long-term stability in the global economy, right? No, it's going straight to the central banks. Cap and trade, it has nothing to do with the environment. Cap and trade energy tax will cause redistribution of wealth among states and working families. Here we go. Last year, President candidate Barra Soetoro, and this is in 2009, mind you, quote, under my plan of the cap and trade system, electricity rates would necessarily skyrocket. Businesses would have to retrofit their operations. That costs money. They will pass that cost on to the consumer. And it says, it looks like he was right. According to the CBO, cap and trade would cost the average American household an extra $1,600 per year. It would increase the price of gasoline between 61 cents and $2.53 a gallon. Cap and trade would increase the cost of electricity by 44 to 129%. November 2010, UN official admits cap and trade is wealth redistribution. Please join me in part 2 of this news bulletin. This is GGN and I'm Darko. Thank you.